Well, the windows are here. Go fire up that telehandler we rented and hopefully we can get these things off. After waiting months, our windows finally arrived, April 1st. What a fiasco that was. That took hours longer than it should have. The guys that put the skids in there at the warehouse just destroyed the skid in the front, so we couldn't pull it out of there. Then the window started shifting inside the skid and falling against the wall of the truck. So I had to strap around the skid. Then use some tree rigging techniques to pull it over. It was a struggle. Just look how that's sitting on the skid. All right, gotta find somewhere to level to put this thing down. Go hopefully I can get.
How would they do this? Also, how did they get them in here? Like a bunch of people just held them and then they wrapped them?
Put the screw in it quick.
Oh my gosh.
Chan, quick. The window crates made it all the way from China to Mississauga in great condition. And it was no fault of the manufacturer, but that the shipping company that picked the windows up to bring them from Mississauga to our property loaded them in properly and destroyed the crates. So we weren't sure what kind of shape the windows were going to be in when we were going to open these crates up.
It looks pretty zany. El Green is the name of it. Oh, it's smashed. What? Beep, beep, beep.
You're seeing the bubble wrap to the other side.
Oh my god. Maybe so.
There's still 10 other windows in there that might be broken, but
This color is perfect. It is. It is.
maybe that's it. This skid was still in mostly one piece, and we measured it and it was going to fit in the back sliding door of the house. So we wanted to get in out of the weather because we weren't sure when we were going to get to put the windows in. So we wanted to get them under cover and just make sure they keep them in good shape until we got to them. The tricky part was the forks on the telehandler were just barely long enough to pick it up lengthways, but these skids are pretty top heavy and it was a little unnerving trying to move it around that way. We had about an inch to spare at the top of this crate. But as the old saying goes, an inch is as good as a mile. sit the window jamb on the ledge of the rough opening and line it up, take the strap off, and tip it in there. Only a slight bit of shimming was needed to make sure it's level. Other than that, we're going. For the second story windows, we built a sturdier skid to put our little window rack on. And we screwed the window rack down to the skid so it can't go anywhere. And the skid was much heavier duty. We built it at a 2x8s and 4x4s, so it wasn't going anywhere. Strap the window down to the rack, and then we can lift it up into place, unstrap it, and then tip it in just like the first story windows, ground floor windows. But then we got Connor set up with a harness so he could strap himself in so he didn't fall out. Of course, we sent the guy up that's afraid of heights, because that's more entertaining than having someone up there that's comfortable. But he did a great job. These big second story windows, they're probably 300 pounds each with the triple pane and wood frames. But with our window rig set up, they went in easily. Just two guys were able to set them no problem, and one guy on the machine. So it was going smooth. Well, it was a couple of successful days for the guys. We were able to get all the windows in their rough openings anyways. I still have to trim out those headers for the recessed blinds, and we still have the doors to put in, but I got some figured out to do there. And I still have the circle window to put in this on the other side, the west side. But I got some trimming to do there. That should be exciting. Well, Melissa's away on a baby shower the day, so I'm gonna pack the boys in the Jeep, and we're gonna throw the fencing supplies in there and see if we can't patch up some fencing. The cows got out the back property line when they escaped there when we first got them, so we're gonna see if we can patch that corner up so they don't get out again there. Watch your head, Miles.
What did he say?
Mm-hmm.
Me.
Well, we made it back to the furthest point of dry land on our property anyways. The end of the snowmobile trail comes down here, and then it heads that way and goes across the river. But right at this point here, it drops off and turns into swamp. So it kind of drops off 8 feet there, goes into wetlands. Cows don't bother with that too much. So we're right on the property line here, on the far side of the hydro field, and there's we have single strand electric over here, and then about 12, 14 feet away, there's page wire fence on the property line. And up here, it's all solid. But we get a little bit further down there, and then it gets gnarly. The page wire must have failed at some point, and one of the farmers put a couple strands of barbed wire in. But there's one spot where it just got twisted up, and that's where the cows must have got out. Also, while we're here, look at this gnarly old maple tree. Nice big sugar maple. 5 feet diameter. That would have been a wolf tree. One that was left years and years ago when they're logging, and they didn't log it. She's a real beaut. Also, they probably left it because there's fence wire in the middle of it. Old barbed wire there. Couple runs of barbed wire. So, I don't think we'll be milling that tree up anytime soon. But man, it's a great tree. It's fun to climb, actually. What did you guys find? I think the cows went under here when they escaped.
Can you make it under? Cow.
Yeah. Cow, yep.
Yeah.
I doubt we need to come out.
Dada.
Yeah, Miles? Yep.
Dada.
Yes, Miles.
Dada.
What?
Cow.
The cow, yeah.
After he grabbed it, and then pull him back, and then I thought of it how that comes away. Dada.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that I'm Puppy. Puppy. Dada. Look.
That's tough. That's tough.
Oh my god! He's getting so long. Who like this long? How long do they seem?
Biggest issue with our fencing is that the single strand electric that the farmer who's rented this land for 40 years put up is pretty tall because he's got Charolais cows, which are, you know, some of the biggest cows you can get. And now we got Highland cows, which are on the smaller side. They're one of the smallest cows you get. So we got 2 young steers, and they're not big guys, you know, especially the youngest one. So he can walk right under this. So I think we got to go around and put a second strand of electric, you know, basically around the whole property, which isn't, you know, the end of the world, but it'll take some time. But we want to do it with Highland cows because they're small. We're thinking, and they're gentle. Hopefully they're easier for us to learn with. But also, our land doesn't have the best pasture, so we thought that they would forage better than a lot of the other cows we see around here. And they have some of the best beef too, so hopefully that works out. Get to grow a nice big herd of Highland cows and learn a lot in the process while doing it. so much to learn. But that's what we're here for, you know? It's doesn't get better than just being out here, working away with the boys, learning things, spending time in nature. It fills the cup. However, when the cows get out, that's stressful. So we're gonna do what we can to stop that. We don't want to do a massive fence all around the perimeter. Like, you know, it has page wire and stuff most of the part, and it has some old snake fence, rail fencing. We don't want it to be impenetrable for wildlife. You know, we want whitetail and moose to come through here. And the biggest issue is moose knock down the fence here and there. So there's the back of our property is all wetlands and river. So the fence doesn't. So yeah, all on the back of our property, the river is our property line, and there's a big area of wetlands between, you know, our dry land and the river. But that's a huge corridor for wildlife. So they come in and out of the property through that wetland area where the cows don't go out there, thankfully. But they come in and there, and then they'll want to go to the next property. So we can't have, you know, 6 foot tall fence to stop things. It would just be issues for wildlife. And we want to hunt and enjoy the wildlife. So that's just compromises we have to make. You know, we have to find the balance between fencing for cows and no fencing for wildlife. But we'll hopefully find that balance. I mean, I'm learning a lot from Alan, the farmer who was rented this property off us and farmed for a long time, ranched for a long time, and he's done a lot with very little. You know, single strand electric around the place. That's pretty awesome. You got to get around and check it quite a bit, see if trees fall on it. But hey, that's just an excuse to get in a vehicle and go for a ride, or walk, ride a bicycle, whatever. Just get around and check the fences. You know, that's not the end of the world. We're around a lot, so that's not a big chore. Just an excuse to get out here and enjoy more of it. Now the boys are getting stir crazy. Mom's on her way home, so we better get back up to the house. Get dinner on, hey boys? Yeah. Get the other half on there. It's gonna look awesome. See that dead pine there? Let's get rid of that. We lost a whole bunch of young juvenile pines last year due to a drought. So we have a few of them to take out. One there, one there, one there. And the mother-in-law's trailer, that's supposed to leave soon too. Some beauty views. Let's get the other half of that circle up. Take a look. Luckily my brother was nearby when I was installing this window. He was able to come up and help me lift it into place and get it centered.
A little bit more.
And Kai was helping too. Okay, I'll come in, I guess.
You got some trouble this morning and you said that's just the way the consequence was going to be. No. Forever. I know.
Here Adam and I are assembling the frame for our big 8-foot slider. They ship this frame separate of the panes because it's a big door and the panes are so heavy. They're triple pane, 4-foot by 7-foot doors, the 2 of them. So each pane is a couple hundred pounds anyway. And yeah, I had to pull this apart and seal it up with some caulking and some butyl tape and put it back together. Now we shouldn't have any drafts anyway. They did send some sealant to use there, but I didn't find it until after. But I had other stuff that was just as good or better anyway. That is left. Just countersinking these holes so that we'll be able to put the screws in, and then I'll be able to plug them at a later date with some little dowels and sand it smooth like they're not even there. So the door joint for this sliding door went in really easily. I had that in no time. The fixed pane was another story though. Hey, Adam and I got the frame installed before lunch. Now it's time to lift these heavy glass panels up and see if we get them in place. It's gonna be a struggle, but we have a plan. Hopefully we can make it happen.
I'll try and get my finger in here somehow, depending on the...
Adam and I wrestled with this fixed pane side of the door for a good 2 hours trying to get it in there. I don't know what we were doing wrong, but it was a struggle. We had to make some alterations and take some trim off to make it work, but... Okay, Adam and I took off this piece of trim on this side, trying to make a bit more room. We're having issues not being able to get the door over far enough to clear the upper trim underneath there. So hopefully, with any luck, this will be the trick. And then we'll just have to try to get that trim back on there, one way or the other. Oh, hey, Mountain. That part's not stuck on yet. Still need to put a couple screws in that. The weight of these windows and doors gives them a very satisfying opening and closure. Look at the size of that. It's like 6 inches. We're happy with them. Hopefully they last as good as they look. Well, we managed to do it. We got all the windows and doors in without breaking them. That was a challenge. You know, they were heavier than I expected. But with some team effort, we got them in and we reached the finish line. There's lots of puzzles still to solve, but one at a time, we'll get this house finished. So thanks for stopping in, checking things out. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.